Hello children, good morning. Today we are going to discuss the topic computer memory. So we have already completed the history of the computers and the characteristics of the computers in the previous lesson. Today we are going to see the new topic computer memory. In this topic we are going to discuss about measuring memory, primary memory and secondary memory. So we know computer is an electronic machine and it works according to the IPO cycle, that is input, process, output cycle. It accepts the input from the input devices and process it and gives the result. So it receives the input from the input devices. The data, the given data are processed in the CPU. So CPU is the processing device. The the data are processed in the CPU. Results are displayed through the output devices. We are getting the output from the output devices. Input devices are used to give input to the computer and output devices are used to get the result from the computer. So we know that we can store some memory, isn't it? We can remember some things, previous class or previous year or whatever. We can remember something in our memory, isn't it? So we have memory, that is we have some memory about our childhood things or the studied things. We have memory. The same way the computer also has memory. The computer also has memory. This computer memory is used for processing the data. That is, I already told you CPU is the processing device, and to process these data, some informations to be stored. So for processing, the computer memory is useful, and for storing the data and instructions also. So for processing and storing data and instructions, computer memory is used. So after some time or some few days after, we can forget something, isn't it? So we have the possibility to forget something, but a computer memory cannot forget anything. Once it is stored for many years. It can be retrieved. This data can be retrieved at any point of time. So whatever the information stored in the computer memory can be retrieved from it at any time. So computer cannot forget anything. So let us move on to how to measure the memory. We are going to measure the memory's capacity, computer memory capacity. So you have already studied the different units of measurement, isn't it? Kilograms, grams for weighing some products, and meters and kilometers for distance to measure the distance, liter and milliliter for measuring the liquids. So likewise we have studied some units of measurement for measuring something, isn't it? So for hard substances we use grams and kilograms. For measuring the distance we are using meter and kilometer, and for measuring the liquids we are using liter and milliliter. So the same way we have some measuring unit for computer also. We have measuring unit for computer also. A computer can understand only the binary language. So what do you mean by binary language? So this computer is an electronic machine, so it can understand only the two things, that is on or off. Either it is on or off. So this on is represented by the number 1 and the off state is represented by the number 0. So this only can be understood by the computer. So whatever the language we use to communicate with the computer, it won't understand. All the languages or all the instructions will be transferred or will be converted into machine language, that is zeros and ones. So the machine can understand only the zeros and ones, the sequence of zeros and ones. The zeros and ones can be given in a sequence. This 0 and 1 are called as binary language. This binary language consists of zeros and ones. So this 0 and 1 are called as bits. 0, either 0 or 1. That is 0 is a bit, 1 is a bit. So the binary digit, that short form is called bit. Binary, bi, digit t. So the binary digit short form is bit. So this is the smallest unit. This is the smallest unit in the memory of the computer. So the data stored in the computer will be in the form of bits only. Okay. So this computer memory can be measured in the terms of bits. So we are measuring the computer's memory in the terms of bits. So the higher number of bits, whatever the higher number of bits is the capacity of data, higher capacity of the data. Now we are going to see what is a byte. Bit, I already told you, 0 or 1 is a bit. So byte means a group. A byte means a combination of 8 bits, that is a group of 8 bits, that is called a byte. 1 byte is equal to group of 8 bits. So shall we see a table for measuring the computer memory. So 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. We already know 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. The next term, kilobyte. Byte after kilobyte. Kilobyte is equal to 1024 bytes. 1 kilobyte is equal to 1024 bytes. 1 megabyte. Kilobyte after megabyte. 1 megabyte is equal to 1024 kilobyte. 1024 kilobyte is considered as 1 megabyte. 1 gigabyte is equal to 1024 megabyte. So 1024 megabyte is equal to 1 gigabyte. 1 terabyte is equal to 1024 gigabytes. 1 terabyte is equal to 1024 gigabytes. 1 petabyte is equal to 1024 terabyte. 1 exabyte is equal to 1024 petabyte. 1 zettabyte is equal to 1024 exabyte. 1 yottabyte is equal to 1024 zettabyte. So at present we are using these memory units for measuring the computer's memory. We are using these units. So whichever is highest now, 1 yottabyte. 1 yottabyte is equal to 1024 zettabyte. So smallest unit is bit, and now we are seeing this highest unit is yottabyte here in this table. So let us see the types of computer memory. So we have two types of computer memory. We have two types of computer memory. One is primary memory and secondary memory. Primary memory and secondary memory. So in this video we are going to see only primary memory. In the next class we will see the secondary memory. So let us go in for primary memory. So primary memory, it is also called as main memory or internal memory. What are the other names of primary memory? Main memory and internal memory. So this primary memory is directly accessible to the CPU. So this primary memory is directly accessible to the CPU. So the CPU, the processor, can directly access this primary memory. The processor, that is CPU processor, can access this primary memory directly. The CPU reads the instructions from the primary memory. The CPU can read the instructions from the primary memory continuously and executes them whenever required. So the data is stored for a long time, isn't it? I told you. And if we want to use it, whenever we want to use it, it can be captured. It can be taken from the memory and it can be used. So this primary memory is again divided into two parts, RAM and ROM. This primary memory is divided into two parts, RAM and ROM. Let us discuss about RAM. RAM. Expansion of RAM is random access memory. Random access memory. It is a read-write memory. It is a read-write memory. That is, we can able to read from the memory or write into the memory. We can able to read from or write into the memory. So when a computer starts, when we are switch on the computer, it loads the operating system into RAM. The operating system is loaded into the RAM. So when the computer starts, it loads the operating system into the RAM. And whatever the program we are using, for example, if we are using a Word program or a Paint program or any other PowerPoint, any other program, if we are using in the computer, it means that the program is loaded into the RAM. That program is already loaded into the RAM. So we are actually working the program which is loaded in the RAM. We are working the program which is loaded in the RAM. So RAM is a volatile memory. RAM is a volatile memory. What it mean by volatile memory? That is, when the power is on, it retains the stored information. That is, when the power is on, that the current is on, the data will be there in your computer. But when the power is off, that is, when the current is off, the data the data or information which is stored, everything will be lost. So it is a volatile memory. It can retain, it can have the information only when the power is on. If the power is off, the data will be lost. The amount of RAM. So the amount of RAM installed in a computer, however the RAM we have installed in the computer, it affects the number and the size of the programs that a system can run simultaneously. For example, nowadays we are using mobile phones, smartphones, isn't it? So the smartphones are available in different capacity of RAM. Have you noticed that? 2 GB RAM, 3 GB RAM, 4 GB RAM, they will say like that, isn't it? The mobile phones are also available with this capacity. So whichever mobile has the larger amount of RAM, that is, for example, for 4 GB RAM is better than 2 GB RAM mobile. So because the 4 GB RAM mobile works fast than a 2 GB RAM. So how much RAM we have in our computer, that will affect the number of programs and the size of the programs we are going to run in that. Okay, so if the computer has larger amount of RAM, it can work many programs at a time. Multitasking, that is, many programs can be run at the same time. Let us move on to ROM. ROM. The expansion of ROM is read-only memory. Expansion of ROM is read-only memory. In this ROM, the data are pre-recorded. The data are pre-recorded. That is, already the data are stored in the ROM. We cannot write into that ROM. So once the data is returned onto ROM, we cannot remove it. So once the data is entered into ROM, we cannot remove, but we can read the data. From the ROM. ROM is a non-volatile memory. So we have seen RAM is a volatile memory, isn't it? So ROM is a non-volatile memory. It means that it can retain the stored information even the power is switched off. So when the computer is switched off, in that time also the data will not be lost. So in most computers, ROM is used to store a special software called BIOS. So in many computers, ROM is used for storing BIOS. BIOS means basic input or output system. Basic input or output system. So this BIOS software is used to load the operating system when the computer is switched on. So this BIOS is used to store the load the operating system when the computer is switched on. So we have discussed the primary memory, isn't it? There are two types of memory, primary memory and secondary memory. Among that, we have seen RAM and ROM. That is two types of primary memory, RAM and ROM. So we can see the secondary memory in the following class. Thank you, children.